Hi everyone, it's Nora Menken, or Nora Crafts, whichever you like. Today we're going to be making masks. We all know that they're really important right now, so you can make one for yourself, you can make one for a sibling or a parent, or even any kind of essential worker, anyone in a grocery store. A lot of people need masks right now, and not just in the medical profession. Of course, they need them the most, but the ones that we're going to be making today are not medical grade. They're just to simply cover your nose and mouth and decorate them so that you can walk around like with your own personal homemade mask. But first, I thought I'd give you a little tour of my studio where I work from home. So welcome. This is my studio. I have my little photography area. That's a light, and I take photos over here. So I got all my product shots over here for things that I sell. I have my sewing machine, my sewing area. This is where we're gonna be today. You can see I'm working on a pom-pom bottle. Here we have my dog trying to escape the room. This is Kimchi. Say hi to Kimchi. Hi, Kimchi. Hi. She's the best. I have a couple dress forms that I've been playing around making some, pom-pom items. And then what I really wanted to show you guys was all of my color coordinated pom-poms. They're all sorted by color, and that's really exciting to me. And sparkles. These, of course, are how they come when I get them shipped. But all of these, red, pink, orange, another orange, brown. Anyway, all the colors of the rainbow sorted into drawers. It's really pretty. So yeah, let's get started. So I wanted to have you guys make a mask out of something that you probably already have in your house. I don't know, a lot of people since they've been home have been spring cleaning out their closets. I'm just using this plain white shirt. It was actually given away by a friend of mine. You can see it's stained, but it's clean. It's just stained. And we're gonna make the mask out of it so that it's material you already have around. So first we're gonna lay it out. If you have an iron, that would be for the best. So we're ironing it just to make sure that all the wrinkles are out. You can have a really clean palette, so that everything you cut is going to be even. This is not the most powerful iron, so it's not going to be perfect, but as usual, we are not striving for perfection, just for a fun project and hopefully something that you're proud of wearing. That's about enough. We don't need a whole lot of surface area for this. So this t-shirt, just one portion of it has been ironed because that's all we're using for now. I'm going to pin both sides of the shirt together because we need 2 layers for this mask. So we're pinning it together just like this. You can see none of the stains matter. They're all going to be covered anyway. Okay. So now we're going to measure out the material that we need. And for a typical adult size mask, you want to measure it so that it's 9 inches long and 7 inches wide. You can make it a little bit smaller if you're making this for yourself and you have a smaller face. I also have a smaller face, so I understand. So I'm going to start it right from the edge, which I will eventually cut in half anyway. And I'm trying to have it perfectly lined up so that this is all even. So I'm measuring to 9. can feel that the other side of the fabric is a little bit lower. It's sort of right here. So that's as high as I'm going to go there. And then 7 inches wide. Nine inches, perfect. And here, if we're going up to here, have it 7 inches long. Make a little mark. It's basically you're making a perfect rectangle. Make little marks along the way so you know where you're cutting. And now remember, this shirt it's one whole shirt, so it's all just going to be cut exactly as is, and we will have 2 sides. It's best if you have a good pair of fabric scissors for this, but obviously kitchen scissors would be great. Any kind of scissors. And before we move on to any kind of sewing or decorating, we're going to cut out the strap. So this is just, I mean, this is a large men's t-shirt, so you can use as much fabric as you want. I'm using this because it's already sewn really nicely and it's has a little bit of a stretch, so that's kind of cool. So I'm just cutting it off, and this is what we're going to use for the ties. In fact, I should probably do this one side at a time so it's a little more accurate. David, speed it up. So, I'm going to show you guys how to put this together on the machine. But if any of you know how to use a needle and thread, you just do exactly what I'm doing, just without a machine. You do it by hand. It'll take a little bit longer, but it'll be really fun, and it'll give you something to do because we all are finding ways to occupy ourselves. So I'm cutting this in 2 even strips, and then later on we'll cut them again in uneven strips because when you tie it around here, you want it longer than when it's tied around your neck. But for now, just 2 even strips. Got my sewing machine, my setup. And because this t-shirt is kind of, remember I said it was really stained, I'm using those pieces as the outside. And maybe when we turn it on the inside, there might be a couple stains still, but it'll look cleaner. So what we're gonna do, first we turn the machine on. And I'm setting my machine so it's a zigzag. It'll make it a little bit stronger. But again, if you're just doing this with a needle and thread at home, a straight line is fine. And I'll even leave one side open so I can show you exactly how to stitch it back and forth where it's really strong. When you sew it, we're not going to go all the way along the top because we want to be able to turn it inside out eventually. So we're going to start a little bit past halfway, like this. And we're starting right at the outside. So, holding the material, I want to go really slowly. And now, of course, every time you sew, especially on a machine, you want to backtrack because that makes it really secure. Running it through the machine. Now, before we get to the end, I take one of these straps. I'm going to put it right into here. So again, when you sew it at home, you want to fit it in between these two sides so they catch each other. In fact, lifting up the presser foot, getting these sides even. All right. So this is sewing the strap into place. Turning it. And again, we want to make sure, I think the pins can come out of this side now, because now they're just in my way. We can make sure that this is lined up here and out of the way of the needle and thread, because we don't want to get it stuck in these sides. Press your foot down, and here we go. Now, because of the material, it does roll up a little bit. If you make this, if you have other material and it's muslin or it's a different kind of 100% cotton, something a little bit stiffer, it will be easier. But this is totally good for now. Just getting it straight. Ooh. You want to angle it in also. You see how it's on like a 45-degree angle? That'll really help when you need to attach it to your face. Make sure that that strap is out of the way. We don't want it sewn all the way along the edges. We just want it to stick out a little bit. This actually might even be easier to sew by hand, because on a machine, this material, you can see it like is rolling up. Even I have kind of a hard time with it, so just gotta be careful about that. But it really won't matter. Once it's turned inside out, we go around the outside again and it'll be fine. So again, putting the second strap in there. Final side. Again, we want this at a 45-degree angle so that it's easy to go over people's faces. And this is the side. Remember, we started more than halfway. We want to end sewing this about here or here so that we can turn it inside out. Again, reverse. And done. So now we turn it inside out and you'll see the beginning of what looks like a face mask. I'm even pulling on the straps to make sure that it all comes out evenly. Look at that. Okay, so now that we're done with this part, for a medical grade mask, they recommend that you do 3 folds, like 1, 2, 3. I can't even get the third one right now because it takes a little bit of, and maybe a little different material than this. So instead, we're just gonna do one big fold, just like this. You'll see what I did was basically fold it in half and then fold it back halfway. And that's it. Somewhere in between, so that there's material, only one sheet on this side, one layer on this side, and 2, really 3 right here. And then we pin it. And a quick iron press. Again, this is just for you to make it easier to sew, and it makes it really pretty to have really clean lines and no wrinkles. And especially up here where that opening is. So next, I'm going to show you guys how to sew this fold, not using machine. Okay? So you're going to start, try to find a place that's a little bit more hidden. If we're saying that this is the front of the mask, because the first fold, you know, on this side, that's the back. So if this is the front, we're going to start the needle somewhere, either in the back or even right in between here, because then it'll be hidden. Needle up. And if you're watching this video and you want to go back and sew, this is the technique I was talking about to make it really secure. So the thread comes out here, you go behind it, needle in, needle out, and pull. Then you put the needle right back where it was, where the first thread, right here. You go in and out in front. Needle in to where this thread ends and out in front. You want to try to keep it in as straight a line as possible, and that's going to make sure that it looks really neat. You want to keep the threads even. Back to here, needle in, needle out. Watch out for your fingers, of course. And you're going to do that all the way around. Now, I'm not going to do it all the way around hand sewing because I really want to show you guys this completed. But this is definitely, this could take, you know, this in itself could take about half an hour. And because I just want to show you guys a little bit more quickly, I'm going to do it on the machine. But I'll finish up here so that you know how to end it. So at the very end, you put your needle in, it comes out the back, okay? Pull the thread all the way through, make sure it doesn't get tangled, which is the hardest part for everyone, including me. There's always thread tanglings happening. So now the tail of this part of the thread is in the back. You're going to go underneath one of the stitches that we just sewed. Do you see this is happening? This loop is getting smaller and smaller, and you're going to put the needle through it and then keep pulling. And that is going to make knot number 1. One more time, through. You pull the loop, and before it's closed, Put the needle back through, and that's knot number 2. And just for safe measure, we'll do a third one. Put the needle in, same place you put it before, because that's what ties it in a knot. Here's the loop getting smaller, and before you close it, you put the needle through the loop and you pull. And then because you don't want this thread touching someone's face, we're gonna put it back inside. Let's have it, you can just sort of thread it through these other parts. Let me get that. Just kind of thread the tail through. So it's out of the way. And then we're going to cut it off. There. So I'm going to sew the rest of it on the machine and we'll be right back. I'm going to start this here because we no longer need to turn it inside out, but I want to make sure that this part stays closed. So you always want to start very slowly, and then we're going to reverse it to make sure that it stays. And of course, this only works if you have a sewing machine, but hand sewing is perfectly good. David, speed it up. So this is what the almost final product looks like. You can see that when you put it over your face, it's going to expand, but it's a little bit smaller on the sides. And one thing we're going to do is for this nose piece, a really fun thing to do is put a piece of wire, and I'll show you how to sew that. We're going to sew a piece of wire so that it stays on your face. So this part is not necessary. I know not everyone will have wire, but some people have twist ties, some people might have some jewelry wire. Anyway, it's really not necessary, but if you have something, this is what I like to do. I like to cut it to about 3 inches. I'm gonna make a little mark here. Cut it about 3 inches. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to take this old needle and thread, make it a little, I think we might need a little bit more thread, so I'm just going to make it longer, tie a knot at the end, and if you need help tying a knot, maybe a parent can help, or just a regular knot will do. So this is the top where, you know, that's where our nose is, right? And we want this, if you feel like it, to make it a little bit more face fitted. So you just put it right in the center. You can fold it in half in order to find center. It's about right here. So what I'm going to do is start again, starting to put my needle in the back. Bring it up. And then place the wire right next to it. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. the wire's right next to it so that you can go down. You're basically just tacking it down. And you can do it again. You want to get it as close to the wire as possible. And you do want this on the outside of the mask because it would be really uncomfortable if it were touching your face. So you want to try to have it outside of the mask. And now we're just going to keep going. Just make a couple more stitches. This can also be done on the machine. But again, since not everyone has a machine, a sewing machine, this is totally fine. I'm spacing it out a lot because it's really, you know, we're just tacking it down. It'd be better to have them very close to each other, but in this case, again, since it's just for you or someone that you know, it's totally fine. If we were making more professional masks, everything is a lot more regulated. It might be better to have the stitches closer together. But we are, as I say, getting crafty. My catchphrase that never took off. Still trying to make it happen. I'm probably going to go back over this on the machine so it's a lot tighter. And again, it requires a lot of patience. And really, it's going to be just time for you to do something with your hands and take your mind off of anything that you're thinking about. This is really just all you have to focus on in the moment, is getting this needle and thread around this wire. One more time. I'm going to tie it off in the back. So I'm going under any kind of pre-existing thread, that's even just a knot in the fabric itself, which is totally fine. Needle through, and then back into that same place. Get that loop, needle through, and one more time. Needle through. And I'm going to do what I did before, which is just move the needle and thread along the inside so that the thread has somewhere to go when you cut it off. All right. So here's basically your final mask. And what you can do with these straps, you're going to cut them, but let's just measure it on the face first. So if I go like this, I'm going to squish that down onto my nose. I want to make sure that these straps can cross, leaving a little bit extra room. So if I know that I need about probably that much, you know, the top is a little bit longer. So I'm going to cut this off about, let's say the bottom is roughly 7 inches. So cut it at 7 inches. And same with this side. again, because of the nature of this material, it's a t-shirt material. And because I already used the sides, this is gonna stay. This is gonna stay just like that. So now you have this mask. You can tie these up here. Make it a little bow. And these down here. I'm gonna do this one in just a knot because there's not really enough room. If you want to make any of the straps longer, you can. So that's the plain mask. And now we're ready to decorate the mask. So you can use whatever you have. If you have a glue gun, you can glue different pieces of fabric. You can glue, if you have pom-poms, obviously glue pom-poms. That's what I'm gonna do. You can sew into it. Or even just Sharpies, colored Sharpies would work to make any kind of pattern that you like. I thought about making, like, you could make a smile, you could make an animal mask. I would love to see what you guys come up with, so please send in what you make. I am going to cover it in pom-poms. So I think I definitely want some on the ends, so that when you tie it above your head, it's really like, it looks like you've got some cute pom-poms on your head. And I like to press it into the material, into the fabric, so that the glue gets all in the pom-poms and in the tails of these straps. You want to be careful not to get glue everywhere. See how not much glue is needed. I'm going to put it right here. Press it into itself. And maybe another green one. You don't want your fingers in the way, you just want them out of the way. I have this nice mat that even if you glue things to it, it doesn't stick. So that's really helpful for me, but make sure you have some kind of base down so that you don't get glue everywhere. And of course, you want to avoid all these different kinds of glue strings. I'm going to put one more on this side, maybe pink. So that it really looks like all these pom-poms are just naturally falling onto the ends of these straps. I think that's really, really cute. I'm covering up even where the cut was so you don't see the ends. Maybe one more. There we go. Let's squish that together. That looks like Italy. Oh boy. Putting one more orange on the end. Get it to stick to the other pom-poms. I'm gonna let it dry for a second so I can peel it off of this mat. And let's do a yellow right on the end because I want to hide where I made a cut. Pink. glue. And one more, I'll do purple. Cool. So now you can see the ends of these are like when you tie them in a knot, they'll just be hanging the back of your head. And remember how this was a stained piece of fabric, so I see a couple tiny spots. They might be hard to see on camera, but little spots where there are stains. I'm gonna cover them because we didn't use perfect material. And the rest of it is just random. I think that's all I'm gonna add for now. So yeah, there we go. Hold on, I'll put it on. So here's my mask. Tell me what you think. And I would love to see what you guys come up with. And I miss you all so much. I hope you're all safe and at home and maybe making some fun, cute, anything, masks, pictures, drawings. I hope you're all having a really good time at home. Mwah!